When I was 17, someone said to me, "You'd make a good police officer." I think it's because I look mean and nasty. But I tried to join then and I got rejected. And it was because I was too young, and that for me was like, well, that's it. I'm going to join, I'm going to overcome that. So I actually did get in at 19, and my career has now spanned 25 years. That's why I tell everyone I started when I was 10. What I like a lot about the way that we work in crime prevention, which obviously criminology students would be interested in, is we work entirely in terms of crime priorities and human behaviour. So we don't just look at statistics and what's happening in crime, but what's happening, how it's being done, who are they targeting or what are they targeting, what sort of behaviours are they exhibiting, because when we're doing our problem solving approaches, it gives us a lot of different avenues that we can cut off that behaviour. And that doesn't mean we just choose one. We'll actually do a lot of different, what we call layers of response, and that will include the victims or the locations or the property and things like that. So very exciting. I think what happened for me is when you're doing the job and you're working in amongst different types of behaviours, then learning, I guess, the theory and the literature that talks a lot about what undermines those behaviours. So instead of me looking at things in terms of black and white, right and wrong, which you'll find police get into the habit of doing, you start looking at why people start to behave a certain way, whether it's a social situation or a learned situation or a choice. I found that really interesting. So I like to take a lot of things like that into consideration when we decide. So we try not to be as judgmental in terms of how people end up on the wrong path or making bad decisions. For me, personally, I come in every single day that I'm working and I'll read what we call the logs, the patrol logs for right across the areas that I look after. And they're pretty much everything that our frontline police will attend or are called to. Big diversity of jobs. So it could be, someone is having a psychotic break, so there's violent behaviour, domestic violence, someone's house has been broken into, traffic accidents, anything that someone would call the police for, that's what there will be reports on. And that familiarises me every single day with the patterns and the trends, and often we'll pick up things that are linked that we can tie together and actually resolve. And it's easy for us to do that because we're reading the big picture. When you're in a small station, you might have attended a job but you don't realise it belongs to something else. So even putting the puzzle pieces together for us is really quite exciting, and it puts us on the map. I was just praying I could make it through the academy. It's hard work. Yeah. And being that young, and they're actually taking them that, like, you have to be 19 for swearing in, basically. So they'll take you as young as 18 and a half, but when you're that young, it's a big environment to be in. There's big personalities and it's hierarchical and there's a lot of authority, and when you're not used to that, I think it's like going into the army a little bit. When you're not used to that, it can break you down. So I had a lot of support from my family back then with the academy, but I just wanted to make it through there. In fact, what my father said to me is just get through the academy, do 6 months, and if you don't like it, you can leave. But if you love it, you stay. And that's what happened for me. But you know what, if you've got a degree behind you or a trade or a skill, then you've got something to fall back on. You don't just see the perfect job pop up and then apply for it because you're too late. You don't have the skills. So in this job, start getting an idea of what your strengths are and what you'd like to do, and build up the skills then. So when the perfect job comes up, you're ready to apply for it. Take advantage of any mentoring program that you can, because they'll put you in working with people who are in that industry, and it'll tell you whether you like that industry or not. So if you've still got time, you can change direction a bit. And 2, it'll give you contacts, it'll give you networks, and it gives you the opportunity to showcase your skills. Once you graduate, even if you can't find a job in that field, offer to do work experience or do something voluntary in that field if you can, because that's still how you develop your networks.